You know, in the past 5 or so years ever since Genshin's release, I'd say we've had a massive rise in the quality of new gacha game releases. The average gacha game used to look like this, but this year we're gonna have 4 games that look at least this good. And you know, this is very good for me for no particular reason. It's not like I have a YouTube channel entirely dedicated to gacha games or anything like that. But let's be real, all the games that have come out have their own laundry list of problems, some HSR more than others. But what if the young mind of a genius, funny, humble, handsome, did I mention humble? What if I thought up of the perfect gacha game, one we'd all like? Well, except for Genshin fans, some of those motherfuckers don't like anything, I swear to god. By the way, if any other content creators are reacting to this, I would love if you also try to do this. It could be fun to see what different communities actually would want. Now, without further ado, let's finally build out the perfect gacha game. According to me, that is. So, what approach am I gonna take here? I could just say let's make an Elden Ring game, but in gacha form, but that wouldn't really be realistic or say anything about the player experience, free-to-play friendliness, etc. So what I'm gonna do is make a Frankenstein contraption, the best parts of other successful gacha games and some other video game franchises, and I'll build out what I think would be actually something fun. Alright, I think we should take this in 2 parts, monetization first and then gameplay mechanics second. The conditions will be that I can't make up any insane monetization mechanics that haven't been already in a gacha game, and I'll tend to lean towards games that are or have been popular and that I've actually played. So I don't care if your gacha games with 3k monthly players has amazing monetization, I'm not using that. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not. And as much as I would like to say let's just have every character playable in some way, I want this game to actually be realistically sustainable. Let's say that. And hopefully we can build monetization that won't be too destructive to the gameplay, which is a tall task, I know, because all of these games already do that. That's the whole point of stamina systems. Alright, let's go into the nitty-gritty of the monetization. What do I want players to actually spend money on mostly? Other than character banners, which we'll get to, I want something like Azur Lane, not that you know the titties, well, maybe.
I would fuck the citizenship out of that Chinese lady, man.
But mostly the fact that the real money sink is the skins. Cosmetics in video games are the best thing more gacha games should lean on for revenue. They're non-destructive, non-morally shady, unless we're talking CS2 cases, and they're fun. At least they are to me. These games are mainly waifu collectors, and who doesn't want to see their favorite girl, or guy, I don't judge, in a new outfit. Now let's talk character banners, because unfortunately you won't escape this. It's gacha. But I'll try to make it as painless as possible by copying and improving a system from a game I feel I've mentioned 80 times in my time here, but haven't played in actual years. That being, drumroll please, it's Tower of Fantasy. It's always fucking Tower of Fantasy. Before the 3 Tower of Fantasy fans crawl out of their basement, no, your game is terrible, calm down. But it did have some good stuff, like its banners, I would say. Here's how it worked. A rare unit was guaranteed at 80 pulls, soft pity starting at 65, 50-50 for the limited, and at 120 pulls you could directly acquire the limited character with exchange coins. Pity carries over to the next banner, but the exchange coins don't. So we're gonna take that, lower the exchange threshold to 100, and with that we're also gonna have some decently high rates for 5 stars, SSRs, however you want to call them. You might ask why I don't simply make the limited character immediately guaranteed with pity, but I think it's better to take this approach as these games have gotten us used to having more quote-unquote rarer characters than we have the supposedly less rare ones. And if we're gonna have that, I just say let the people be able to get different SSRs while chasing the limited. This paired with having most characters going to the general pool would make for something a lot more rewarding in my opinion. If you save 100 pulls, you know you will get your limited and some other cherries on top. Plus, no weapon banners. All the equipment in the game will be farmable. Oh, and almost forgot. As for dupes, constellations, sequences, eidolons, whatever you want to call them, we're going with a max of 4 per unit because I think it's a way more reasonable number than what we've gotten used to over the past 5 years. And I think that's about enough money talk. Now that we got the monetization out of the way, let's finally think about what the gameplay is going to look like. And me personally, I'm going to try to make something that I feel is heavily missing from modern gacha games. Come closer. Too close. Back up. Listen up. Wanna know what Genshin, HSR, ZZZ, Wuthering Waves, basically every big gacha game that's come out in recent times has in common, other than gambling? Multiplayer in all of these games is all fucking garbage. Listen, Genshin and WoW co-op, boring. PvP gacha games, always terrible. We'll see about Ethereum restart, I guess. But I've said this before, the main reason why people are into gacha games to begin with is because they're the only live service free-to-play anime games that are actually good. But here's the issue with that, none of these games actually need to be live service because they're basically just single-player games that get DLCs without having any significant multiplayer component. And I'm not sure if you guys were aware, but usually the reason why games are live service to begin with is for multiplayer. I don't want to make this game an MMORPG or anything, that genre is fucking dead in a ditch, but I want to actually have a reason to play with other people other than just being carried for boss farming. I can tell my friends to download Genshin to play with me all I want, but when the co-op is just beating the bosses, I'll either beat too fast because I'm 5 world levels over my friend, or will beat too fast because once you've built your characters, everything falls over like fucking bowling pins. Nice. It is not fun. With that said, let's talk genre, gameplay loops, and anything else I can come up with. Disclaimer, I'm no game designer, I'm just a guy that's thinking of something he'd actually like to play. And if someone wants to make this game, go ahead, just give me early access to it and a burger and we'll be square, I guess. Alright, let's talk broad genre and then get into the nitty gritty. The game will be, drumroll please, an action RPG. Wow, is anybody surprised? We definitely don't have enough of those, but listen, I'll make it fun, I think, hopefully. As for the broad setting, we'll just go with a classic high fantasy world. The player will be in your classic adventurers guild and our gameplay will come from the quests the guild gives us. It won't be open world because, honestly, I'm tired of open world games coming out with nothing in it, so the game will have more like open areas and quest stages, but not a single no loading screens open world. Think different open areas like Monster Hunter World. This game will be taking heavy inspirations from it. Because a gacha game with the Monster Hunter formula I think would work spectacularly. And don't you dare give me shit in the comments for plagiarizing because I definitely am not the first one to do it, okay? So I'll take that formula where what matters isn't just how strong your character is, but also the enemy's behavior and your surroundings, and we'll put it in the game. I want to be able to wait for a monster to pass by a tree and chop it off so it's drop on its fucking head. That's the type of game I would like this to be. As for who you'll actually be playing, it'll be the different gacha characters you pull, as well as your MC, which I would like to be customizable to some extent, but I think there is also value in having an MC with a recognizable design. Now, I wanted to have a proper hard class trinity of tank, support, and DPS, but I realized that it will probably just be a better experience if everybody could manage their own safety through dodges and positioning without necessarily relying on someone to be taking all the damage. So the general roles will lean more into DPS, general support / amplifiers, and healers. But it could totally be possible that a character may be specifically designed to play the role of a tank though, I don't know. Dishing out back the damage they've taken after aggroing the enemy is just a thought. Each character will have your usual skill plus ultimate that we've gotten used to, but these will be affected by the equipment, which I envision working like this. We have weapons and armor. We'll have armor sets that can actually show up as armor on your character, or you can just have the armor be invisible and see the character's canon look, quote unquote. But the weapons in particular will change a character's skill set based on how they decide to equip them. We'll have an equipable slot for each hand, and some equipment requires one hand and others both. So, let's say this new cool DPS character comes out and they're meant to use swords. I say meant to because there will be no actual stopping you from putting any weapon type on any character, but some will clearly not work properly with some. So this character can either wield 2 swords, which will give them 2 new skills, wield a sword and a shield, which will give them the ability to parry, or just double hand a big sword. I'm adding some depth into this so people can actually put their own personal twist on how they like to play a character. As I've said before, the safety of players will be managed through dodges, but not the perfect dodges that slow time, just roll dodges. Perfect dodges only make sense in extremely fast-paced games, which I don't plan this one to be necessarily. Now that we know what we'll be playing, of course if we want the difficulty to scale up, our characters will also need to follow suit. They'll have the character level up, but their equipment will have no levels, just rarities and various substats that improve in number with each rarity and drop, and no stamina required to get any of this equipment. I'll let you play the game. I know, crazy. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk endgame so you have an idea what you'll be doing when you're done with the main story content. And this is also the part where I properly address my complaint of the shitty multiplayer and what I would want. First off, I guess this isn't technically endgame, but I didn't know where else to put this in the script, so 90% of quests in the main story will be able to be cleared in multiplayer. Even if your friends are ahead in the story, you'll be able to re-clear old stages with them. If you run the stages solo, you'll get to play 3 characters you swap in between, and if you play with other people for regular quests, you'll have a max party of 4 with each picking one character. For select quests and endgame, you'll be able to run 8-player raids with your friends. I'll allow running multiple of the same characters in main story content, but not in the endgame for balance purposes. And these will be extremely hard, so you're actually forced to play with other people. You won't be able to get away with the antisocial playstyle forever, okay? I won't actually put a hard requirement to have a party. You can try and go solo and get your ass beat, as these will be balanced around 8 players as opposed to the 3 you are allowed as solo. I'll be having you play with other people, and that's the end of the line. Now, let's run it back. What did we cook up in the past 10 minutes? Did we actually end up creating the perfect gacha game? This game is an action RPG inspired by Monster Hunter, with a focus on equipment and progression with a weapon-based skill system, actually meaningful co-op multiplayer, sustainable monetization carried by cosmetics, and a fair character banner system. I think that covers all the bases, and I think I did a pretty good job. Would you play this game? I hope so. And thank you for making it to the end of the video. This was a super fun one to make. If you'd like more content like this, like, comment, and subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff you guys already know. Make sure to follow me on Twitch so the next time I don't upload for a month you don't think I died somewhere. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.